All right. Hello, and good morning. Sorry about the technical difficulty there. I was just rolling with an amazing live stream when I haven't clicked the button to go live yet. Okay, but now we are officially live, and welcome to the show, to the program, to the live stream. I'm not sure whatever it's called, but let me give you a little rundown of what's happening today. So we're going to basically be celebrating the launch of the book Real Words with Sam today. I've got several guests coming on, and I'll give each of them a proper introduction as we introduce each one. First up is going to be Sam's mom and my wife, Paulette Britton. When I send text messages or introduce myself to people, a lot of times I will say, this is Brad Britton or J. Brad Britton, otherwise known as Paulette's husband, so that people will know who I am. We're going to have Paulette up first. After that is going to be Madison Weber, Sam's older sister, and one of his fiercest protectors. After that, we've got Julie Sando. Julie is the first person that ever spelled with Sam. She was the one that was the communication partner for Elliot, who I met at the symposium when I saw him spell that eloquent sentence, and really shifted my worldview in a matter of a minute or two. After that, we've got Stephen May. Stephen runs a large growing Facebook group called Presume Competence. Stephen will be joining us from the UK. Hopefully, if everything goes as planned and all the links are working properly. After that, we've got Ben Williams. Ben Williams is my sound engineer. He runs an organization company called Brand Out Loud Design. The acronym reads out BOLD, which is kind of pretty cool. But he should be joining us from Scotland to talk a little bit about the audio book, which I don't think I saw it live on Amazon just yet, but it's scheduled to be out today. Amazon's not super consistent with the timing of things. After that, we've got a little open time, hopefully, for some Q&A. And if anybody has any questions, in fact, you have questions at any time, feel free to drop them into the comments now. I see some people with comments here. Oh, I see some people saying hello. Okay, great. Thank you, Jakey, for saying this. And then I don't know that there's a code for the other person that made a comment. So thank you for letting us know that we are in all three are working. LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook is working. I love it. I love people checking up on the technology. John Israel will be next. John Israel is also known as Mr. Thank You. I'll explain more about him. He's been featured on Good Morning America, ABC News, Fox News, and he is one of the main reasons this book exists, believe it or not, from some early encouragement from him. Dawn Marie Gavin, who wrote the book on the Speller's Method, she'll be next. And she's the one that really, after COVID, when Sam got to get back in person doing some spelling, this is when things really started to improve. And Dawn Marie was really integral in helping Sam get to reach his spelling potential that he's reached up to this point. And then finally, there at the end, Amber Vilhauer with No Guts, No Glory. She is a book and business strategist and has helped thousands of people launch books, best-selling books. And we'll talk to her just a little bit about this book coming together and kind of what it has meant to her and her business. And then we'll sign off. And I'll open up for any more questions there at the very end. So first up, I'm going to introduce my lovely wife, I think, as soon as she jumps back on her camera. Here we go. Adding to the stage, ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Paulette Britton. And oh, wait, hold on. I got this cool thing. Hold on, watch this. This thing can do all these. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Paulette Britton, my first guest of the day. So she really doesn't need much of an introduction. If you see the last names, they're equal. As I mentioned just a little bit earlier, it's a lot of times in certain circles, many circles, the way I introduce myself is I'm Paulette's husband, because people will be looking at me like, hey, who are you and why are you here? And I'll say, well, I'm Paulette's husband. Like, oh, we love her. And I'm like, well, I do too. So Paulette and I were married February 12th, 1994, 32 years now together. And she is the person without whom there would be no book, right? There'd be no Sam. There'd certainly not be the Sam that we know today. So I didn't expect to have any bits of getting emotional during this live stream today because it is a celebratory day. She's an autism mom in every sense of the word. She's connected really worldwide with the autism community, and she's a huge supporter of the book. At least she has presented that way to me. So I wanted to start off. Paulette, do you have anything you'd like to say before I jump into a question or two?
Well, just thank you for everybody who's been supporting this. Thank you, to my East Texas State Lady Lion volleyball team and my Rancho Santa Fe Rotary Club, and just my lovely church friends from Sunrise and North Coast. And they've just been a part of this thing from the beginning. So we have lots of thank yous.
Yes. Well, yeah, I mean, you can't even really express just with saying some words the gratitude of all the people that have been supportive. That is for sure. And I got lots of people making comments. Hello, by the way. I don't think I'm going to be able to say hello to every single person, but I see my best friend since fourth grade, Ken Morton. Thanks for showing up here. I see some Rancho Santa Fe Rotary Club people. I see some of your volleyball team people in the comments here. So thanks everybody for for joining us here today. That's pretty dang awesome. So I guess my first question is, what was it like for you watching this book come together? I guess I don't even remember if I'd already written several chapters before I even told you about it. In fact, I think I'd written like a bunch of it before I even told you about it, because I don't know if I was afraid or what your reaction or might be. But what was it like for you? And as you've seen the whole process come to fruition?
Well, first it was surprising, like you said, not in your ability to write, because I know you have that. But one of the, it seemed almost, certainly a labor of love, emphasis primarily on labor getting started. This launched out of an era of our life where we were living in a bit of personal shock. We had some personal things happen in our family life that set us on a course that we were unsure of. And this was a really great place for you to dig in. And then it became, I think, therapeutic for you. And then it became a reason to say, look, this is a place where I can now jump into my son's life and really jump in with full force. And the experience has been, it's some work. It's some work getting a book to market, and having Sam participate in it in the way that he could has just been nothing short of miraculous and awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. How are you feeling about this book launch?
I'm glad it's here. Oh yeah, I'm glad it's here. Life doesn't stop. Your part of your world is wrapped around, of course, the book launch, but the rest of the, things don't stop. The world doesn't stop. Sam's program wheels, fall off, and then we're putting those back on, and family illnesses and all the things, and life keeps going, and part of this book is just about not giving up on all levels. But it's been, it's been time consuming in a good way. It's been fun to watch you as your wife do this other thing, and watch you trust in systems and in your faith to make it happen.
Well, I appreciate that. And, I don't know what it looks like from any other perspective than mine.
Right,
So,
right, right. Yeah.
so I wanted to ask you a question that maybe, I don't know, maybe this is challenging or not, but, there are some chapters in the book, 4 chapters specifically, that are about you. And I know that a lot of people have, talked about how vulnerable they felt like the preview parts were, where you've now read the chapters that have to do with my observations of you carrying some really difficult things through some pretty hard, specific instances, just kind of in Sam's very much younger years. So these are about specifically what you did, hard things that you did to help Sam grow. What is it like for you to see those experiences written from my point of view?
Well, I can remember my first reaction when I was brought in to this, to the book writing. You're like, Paulette, tell me about those times when this happened and that happened. What are the details behind this? And I'm kind of in shock because those were some of the most personally painful times of my life. When your kid is struggling in ways that you just have no background, you have no training, you have no idea what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, and you're staying up till 2:00 in the morning, trying to catch your learning curve and trying to get help from every place imaginable while your child isn't sleeping, while they are screaming more hours of the day than they're quiet. And kind of navigating this by myself. There were long stretches of time where I was mad at you.
Oh yeah.
And but I but I didn't have the energy to be mad at you. You know what I mean? It's like I'm mad at you, but we'll deal with that later because I got to do this other thing. And I used to send out emails called what were they called? About Sam. And I had this huge email list. And as we were going through the process, I was sending out emails. And I literally sent you a folder full of the emails with all that information so I wouldn't have to deal with it again. And that's how I dealt with it. It was hard. It was hard. And to go back and read it, I'm like, okay, we're on the other side of that. I'm not going to be bitter anymore. I'm not going to be mad anymore. But I was dealing with stuff today that I didn't deal with then. But got over that hump and just began to appreciate the journey and how hard it was and where we are now and that it's not over.
Yeah. True. It, yeah, it'll, it's one of those things that autism parents deal with, for the rest of our life, for someone like Sam, unless something miraculous happens and changes. Right. So I guess the last question I'll wrap up here with you is, what do you hope readers take away that they may or may not have been expecting?
Well, several categories. Of course, the autism community will have a level of appreciation that, families that don't have struggles with their kids would have. That's of course, and I wouldn't even say that's a primary target for readers, because I think anybody can take away what it means to persevere, what it means to through no light at the end of the tunnel. It's just more tunnel, and you have to decide what kind of person you're going to be through that. If you're going to look, I don't know how to give up. I've always said, if I thought eating dirt in China would help my kid, I'd be on a plane tonight with a bucket and a shovel. I mean, I grew up competitive as an athlete. And then when that game floor was over, my son was my new place to win. And I've been in it to win it then. I've been in it to win it now. I think readers can take that away from this as well, that, welcome to Earth.
Hmm.
You know, that's life, and how you approach it is how it goes. And that's every human. That's everybody. And so I think that's a huge, whether you're in business, whether you're an athlete, I mean, you could just be just any everyday person going through life. And we all have struggles. I mean, this is a common thread within humanity, and how we overcome that matters.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I appreciate you saying that. You know, people who they hear what the book is about and they know a little bit about it. They'll say, oh, this is going to really be great for the autism community. It's going to help a lot of parents. A lot of people who have a person with autism in their family, and then they read the sample and they're like, whoa, this was to me. You know, if they're a parent, if they're in education, anybody who's ever been underestimated or underestimated somebody else. You know, there's business lessons, there's life lessons, and you know, anybody who's ever dealt with or will ever deal with hard things, which that's just about everybody, right? All right. Well, Paulette, thank you for your time.
Hang on. I want to say one more thing. Dads, look, when your child is normally developing, there's a normal place where dads jump in to be dads. You know, the momming part is mostly over, and then the dads come in and they're, you know, they teach boys how to be boy, you know, and they teach young men how to treat women, and and how do men treat others. And when that normal development thing doesn't happen, dads don't know where to jump in. And so I also want to encourage moms, because that's what was spoken to me, that, you know, I'm asking God to change you. And God said, Paulette, I'm trying to change you. So you need to help him. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's my job. And so help the dads figure out where they can jump in and where they have a place. And so, I mean, that's, you know, all dads, who don't know where to jump in. I think that's another place too. I just want to encourage the dads.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for that. That's great. You can stick around as long as you want, but now your daughter is joining us. This is Dautre.
Okay.
Hello, Madison. Welcome. Welcome to the show.
Hi,
Not sure I ever thought I'd say that. Welcome to the show. But Paulette, you're free to stick around and be here as long as you want, or if you have other things to do, it's totally up to you. Madison. So for everybody watching here, Madison is Sam's older sister. She's been a part of the story from the very beginning, of course, since she's Sam's older sister. The book describes her as Sam's biggest protector and his fiercest challenger. I just sometimes think she's kind of mean to him, but that's, I guess, an older sister's kind of their job.
That's my job.
Yeah, I know. There's a line in the book that a lot of people comment on that have read through the preview chapters. They said they love the line that says, she treated him like a little brother, not a diagnosis. Anyway, she currently works for a nonprofit called Solutions for Change. And they're dedicated to solving family homelessness in San Diego County. So Madison, welcome officially to the show. Do you have anything you want to just say to kick off, or you want me to jump into the questions?
It's good to be here, and I'm really excited to read the rest of the book. It's been great so far. You can go ahead and hop into the questions because I'm already crying.
So what was it? Oh, you're crying already. So what was the question is, what was it like to grow up as Sam's big sister? Yeah.
There were times where it was difficult, and there are times where it was really easy. Sam is such a blessing. And I love having him as my younger brother. But there are definitely times where it was hard, where, you know, he's just so loud and you can't hear yourself think. But also he comes over and just gives you a big ol' hug and the biggest smile. Overall, it's been really great having Sam as a younger brother. And I'm very grateful for him.
What is your just perception of how things have changed since he started spelling and started telling us these amazing philosophical, poetic, and comedic things. How has that changed things for you?
My mind has been blown. My eyes have been opened. He is smarter than me, and it's frustrating. I
Yeah.
just, I'm just blown away of learning Sam's inner voice, just wanting to
Mhm.
come out. It's been incredible. There's been some
Yeah.
really great standout prompts and things that he's written that I'm like, wow. How
Did you
does
see
he
the
even know
recent one
these?
about the donkey? What he's going to name his donkey?
Yes, burrito, the burrow. So great. I was like, what the heck? And then what was it? The
What is that?
what was the other one? The
Oh,
the
he named
oxal the
some little creature
Pedro,
Pedro.
the oxalotl. Yeah,
Yeah,
the oxalotl. He's gonna name
Pedro. I think he's naming. He's I guess all the people, all the things that he names ends in an O. I guess I don't know if that's going to
Yeah,
be trend or not. So in the book, it says it describes you treated Sam like a little brother, not a diagnosis. Do you think that was a conscious choice, or was that just kind of the way it was? I mean, you were the big sister, and you just, that's how life was.
um, I don't know if it was a conscious choice. I just think that, he's my little brother. Obviously, I'm gonna protect him and love him, and I'd go to jail for him. But, just if he annoys me, I'm gonna annoy him back. If he gets
Mhm.
loud, I'm gonna get louder. If he wants to hug me and I don't want to hug him and he'll chase me around the room. We still do that now. And if he doesn't want to hug from me, I'll go and give him a big old bear hug. It's just what big sisters do.
Yeah. 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 And he gets loud and you get louder, and then he gets louder and you get louder. I'm not sure that dad and mom like that with that one so much, but I know that it happens.
Yeah, well, what can you do? It doesn't happen so
Right.
much anymore now that I'm out of the house.
Well, what do you hope that people understand about Sam, and other people who look like and present like Sam, who have unreliable speech? What do you hope that they understand about people like that after they've read the book?
That Sam and those like him are capable and brilliant, and they're just stuck. They're just stuck in their insides. Um,
Mm.
I started talking to Sam to him because I know he can hear me and I know he can understand, and that has changed our dynamic. That has changed our relationship, um,
Mhm.
and I feel like it has improved a lot since he started spelling and really started, answering those questions. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Without a doubt. I posted up here to drop your questions in the comments, and so if anybody had any questions for Madison, we've got 2 minutes left of her time. What you just said. Oh shoot, I had something I was going to say about what you just said right there, Madison. Now I have forgotten. Mom, do you have a question for your daughter?
I don't. I was like, and for a commercial break, shout out to Cabin 8.
Oh,
That's a joke. Yeah. But there are people that are commenting about they loved reading about you. And I think Madison, your relationship with Sam and anybody who knows how difficult Sam can be, I think it encourages siblings, because you and I have talked about how you and Sam grew up in the same house at the same time as brother and sister, and as only children at the same
Hmm.
time, because
Hmm.
your life was on one rail, his was on another rail. And autism is an alternate universe unless you live there. You don't know much about it, and you don't know.
Yes,
And
definitely.
yeah, I any instances and in the high school when you guys were in together where you had to look out for him? I'm trying to remember.
Not anything directly, but I would see him with his group and she's like, he's good, he's safe. I know there was one time, not with Sam actually, but with Jakey, Jakey Bronigo. I saw him on campus and someone was saying something to him, but it turned out being something good and genuine. I thought someone was trying to like make fun of him, but they ended up doing like a fist bump or a hand or a high five or something. I was about to walk over to that group and then I was like, okay, we're good. And I turned back and went back to class. But I mean, I would do that for any one of those guys or gals in any of those adult transition programs.
Well, I'm going to say thank you to Paulette. Thank you, Madison, for your time here. I'm going to take you guys off the stage and bring on our next guest, Julie Sando. So I'm going to bring her on, then give her the introduction that she deserves. So let me see if I can manage all these amazing.
Love you, family.
There's There's
right.
Julie.
Love
Hello.
you, Mom. Love you, Dad.
I'll
Love you guys. Love you, Julie. Bye.
You guys are amazing.
All right. Well, hello, Julie. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you for being excited for Sam and for this book and for taking the time maybe a couple of months ago to read through the preview and your encouragement about that. For those of you that do not know, Julie is the founder of Autistically Inclined, and she's a co-director of Communication for Education. She's been working with families in the autism community since 1998, which is, she was one of the first people that worked with Sam on spelling. For those of you that have read the preview chapters, there's a chapter called Hidden in Plain Sight, where that's where I experienced watching someone, a non-speaker or an unreliable speaker, spell for the first time, a young man named Elliot. And it was a turning point for me. A life turning point, and I'm sure this kind of thing is a turning point for a lot of people when they learn about this process. So Paulette and I will never forget you for that. You'll always have a place in our heart for sure. So you were at the symposium that day that I watched Elliot spell that sentence. Do you remember that day? I mean, what do you remember about that day from where you were standing?
I mean, I actually just got full body chills just remembering that day. I mean, that was a really special moment. It was special for me too. And to be able to read it through your eyes was such a gift. And yeah, I remember that day having this overwhelming feeling because there is something truly magical that happens when you put all of these people in one room who have some level of belief that there is more inside of these kids. That's why we're all there, right? Mm-hmm. And to see all these non-speakers come together and to be able to advocate for themselves. I had known about your family. I've known if you live in San Diego, you know Paulette, right? And Paulette's husband. Yeah. So it was we have similar circles, and to be able to see you guys and meet you that day, and to see Elliot be able to speak his truth. I think he also had a connection with your family that was right. You had mentioned in the book, it had been a long time since you'd seen him. Since he was
I hadn't seen him for maybe 10 years. Had I not seen Elliot.
Yes. And he knew that you guys live in the same little part of San Diego that he's in. So I think I remember him perking up and really wanting to connect with you guys. And just him being able to have a peer who he can connect with in his hometown. I think it meant a lot to everybody. So shout out to the Autism Communication Center for making that happen and bringing all those people together.
Yeah. You say he perked up, kudos to you for having the antenna up or being able to decode the behavior and the communication that's happening that most of us, like I would have overlooked. Certainly at that time, I wouldn't have noticed perking up. I would have just noticed behaviors. And it's still, still hard to do that, to notice the right things. But so you worked with Sam in those early months. So what was this? This would have been 2019, right? Somebody asked the question. Julie Booz asked the question in the chat. When did he start spelling? So I think it was 2019, right, when we started.
About right. That sounds about right. Yep.
Yeah, maybe. And you were coming to the house, and this was early on. And I don't know how long it takes most people to actually start showing some progress, but I don't really recall a whole lot of personally seeing a lot of progress for those early times. And man, it's the patience that it takes to for people like you, and God bless the what's the term I should be using? Communication partners, spelling coaches,
Communication.
CP. I mean, just the patience it takes to just continue to work with someone over and over, and presume competence. Just have the belief that there's something in there, and we're going to get it out. And then you got cut short, with COVID. But what do you recall about those early times?
I mean, so when I was watching Paulette earlier talk about on this call, talk about determination, and that just hit me in the face with an exclamation point, because it's a slow process. It takes a lot. And Sam has his own special flair, right? Like he's tricky. Just getting in the door was a big deal, because Sam is his body, right? His impulses are all about that schedule, and that, this is what happens at this time on this day. And here I am, a new person coming in to that routine, to that schedule. And man, his speaking voice was trying to get me out that door, right?
Yeah. What he's saying and what his body is communicating, it's so crazy, because I read a lot of things that spellers are spelling, and they're saying, don't listen to my mouth, right? What I really want, if you hear me looping and talking about one thing, it's almost assuredly that the opposite of that is what I actually want. And that's so hard as a parent or as anybody, to see and to try to deal with, because we're so used to communicating in one certain way. It's crazy. What does unreliable speech mean then? Can you describe it, and why does it matter to how we understand these unreliable speakers, and when do we listen to their voice and when do we not listen to their voice, and is there any way to really know
right
the answer to those questions? You speak to that for a minute or two.
Yeah, I mean, there really is no way to know until they have a reliable form of communication. And once you see it, you can't unsee it, right? You can just tell, like, oh, any word that comes out of my mouth is sparking something out of Sam's mouth that's from Blue's Clues, or right, some TV somewhere. It's just this automatic quick reply that flies out of his mouth, right? A lot of it is very repetitive or scripted or quick. And without that reliable way of communicating, we really don't know what's reliable and what's not. But the thing that I hold on to, my anchor that I come back to, is, of course, you have so much more to say. Of course, there's so much more inside of you. If you have spent any time with any autistic person, we all have those moments where it's like, you can see that look in their eye, or they do something that catches you off guard, or, it's just those little moments where they might pop through every now and then, that gives you that clue. So I think coming back to that anchor of, I know you have so much more to say, so I'm going to find that balance between responding to the body and responding to the mind. So I'm going to show up. I'm going to be consistent, even when it looks like you don't want me anywhere near your house, which he warmed up to me, but it was I had to work my way into his routine. I had to respond to his body and give his body what it needed to calm his body, to help his body relax so that I could then get to his mind.
Yeah. I need to talk to you and, communication partners just more and more often, because it's so counterintuitive to what, people who are normal speakers, I don't know what you call it, regular speakers, how we've always communicated. And it's so different. And if I had this whole live stream to do over again, I think I would do an individual live stream for an hour with each guest. We could talk, for a really, really long time, Julie. But I appreciate you and your time. Hey, I want to introduce you to Stephen May. He runs the Presumed Competence Facebook page. And let's see, Stephen, if I can. Hey, here he is. Look at this. And he's joining us from the UK right here. I don't know if you've seen his Facebook page.
Good stuff. Yes.
He's got good stuff on there. So, yeah, absolutely. Stephen, welcome, man. Is your sound okay? Can you say hello?
Hey, very good afternoon. Yep. Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we got a little, looks like a teeny bit of a delay, but that's to be expected because of how far away we are. So no problem. Well, let me introduce you to who you are. And Julie, you can stick around for this part if you like, or you don't have to stick around. It's up to you. So I've never met Stephen before. Stephen somehow stumbled upon this book and found the preview chapters. Maybe you'll be able to tell us about, how that exactly happened, probably somehow on Facebook. But he's got a group called Presumed Competence on Facebook. And this is a community that's built for families that are navigating exactly the type of journey that the book is all about. It's not just about, spelling, but it's about the relationships and the families. And that's what I tried to make this book about. Not, it's not an autism story or an apraxia story or a story about learning how to spell. There's just so much more to it. So the fact that you found this, Stephen, is proof that the book is somehow finding its way into front of the people who that it was meant to find, I guess. So curious, how did you find this book? Like, walk me back to what was it, online somehow, on Facebook somehow?
Confession to make from over in the UK, which is I am a proper stalker in terms of a member of every single group across Facebook that I could possibly be a member of. When you go into the terms and conditions, if it says you are the parent of, I don't tick that box because I don't have an autistic child. I know nobody in the autistic community. My backstory is I used to be an avid listener to the Joe Rogan show, to everyone that wasn't a comedian or talked about fighting. And I listened to the show, and he has a perception of what I would call consciousness and ancient history, which if you avoid the comedians, this guy is like amazing for resources and teaching. And just going into Christmas of 2024, they talked about this podcast called the Telepathy Tapes. And I kind of went, oh, okay, that sounds interesting. I'll make a note. And then I must have spoken out loud to my phone to talk about it, because on my YouTube feed came the Spellers movie and I watched it. So I moved house on the 1st of January 2025 and the 10th of January 2025. And whilst I was going backwards and forwards in my van, moving between two houses, I watched, the first thing I do was I put the Spellers movie on with the audio in my van whilst I was driving, and I cried the whole way through. I could not understand how this ability or this methodology was 100% successful, and the world didn't know about it. And I just was like, I can't swear here, but I want to say, why isn't this being taught everywhere? It's a travesty for the people concerned. And so I listened to the entire Telepathy Tapes thing. Some of it was a bit too left field for me.
Yeah.
because it was my first experience. So I kind of went, okay. And then I ordered a few books. Now I ordered loads of books secondhand, and within a year, I'd read more than 120 books written or co-authored by spellers and their families. And I did something which I don't think other people do, which is I made an unbelievable amount of notes through the books. No one would want to buy them after I'd used them. And then I started to link things that were in one book they might have been a paragraph in one book and a line in another. They might have been a chapter in one and a few words in another one, where the parents had noticed things. And I suddenly, as I got through more and more books, there were more and more things that were common across all of them.
Mhm.
And I had this kind of eureka moment, and I can't describe how it hit me, because I felt as though my entire life had been 10,000 threads of little things that linked to autism that weren't autism. But when they came together through reading these books, I suddenly had this ability, is the word I can only describe, and it was like given to me to join the dots and suddenly make articles from the books that were like 5-minute reads. That when I first I belonged to a group called Autism Telepathy. That was one of the early ones I joined, and they had about 4,000 members. And I posted a few of these articles. I posted one called "The 6 Buckets of Regulation," and within 3 weeks, it had got 2.4 million views on Facebook, on a group with 14,000 people, where they shared it because everyone just went, this is exactly what my child's going through. Regulation using buckets and stuff. So all of this had come together, and these groups that I joined, I read all of the posts every day. Like, I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and for 2.5 to 3 hours, I read content on posts and articles and comments that people make on posts, and I'm just absorbing all this information, and then I'm turning it into articles that explain those things for more parents to use as reference documents. And your book came up there. Sorry, no, I communicated with you before you told me there was a book. So I think on a post posted about Sam, I wrote a letter to Sam, because one of the things I really want to do is, when a speller spells, I want them to know that there's someone reading it and someone who will talk back from around the world. And that, to me, is the most valuable part of everything that I do. It's seeing what's written, it's seeing what the parents are saying about the children, and then going, actually, let me have a chat with the child, and just like, or their child, who might be an adult, and just kind of say, your voice is being heard, your effort that you're putting into spelling is reaching neurotypicals like me. And I'm firing this cannon out into the world to expand it more. When I read the preview chapters in your book, I got to page 30, 29, 30, and 31, I think it was, or 30, 31, 32.
Yep.
And I kind of did what happened at the beginning of this call, which is my emotions just pour out. Like, I lay there in bed covered in tingles, crying, and going, this is exactly the golden key that opens the door to communication. And everything that I've experienced in my 1 year and 3 months, I think it is, of running the Presumed Competence page or group on Facebook, it was all captured. The first part was all captured in those 3 pages, which was, if you make an assumption, like, as you said a few moments ago, you have to make an assumption and a presumption that, regardless of the physical movement, noises, even words that come out of the mouth of someone with autism, and whether it's diagnosed or not apraxia, you have to presume that they are fully cognizant within their mind and within their, and I'm going to say brain and consciousness. So brain being this big, consciousness being much bigger than it. because when that presumption is made, it seems to, and I'm going to say seems to because the academic side is still learning about it, it seems to unlock the ability to do the things that they do. Without presumed competence, there is no initiation, the start of like back when aeroplanes were first invented, you used to have to put a shotgun cartridge in it, crank the handle, and it fired. And that initiation is what's needed to help the start of the spelling process. It might be audible prompts, it might be visual prompts. It's just that like kickstart that's needed. And that's what I read. I read in those pages, like the kind of parking the moment of the last 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, 50 years, however old that autistic person, you park it first and start from a point that goes, I'm going to presume that they're in there because I've got this like tingly feeling on my arm that maybe presume competence, belief, and love, they are the golden keys. Everybody says it. They take a little bit longer to explain it, but they use those three things. And what I read was what you did. You had a moment where for all these years, you'd want to keep giving the sector the opportunity, or someone with a brave new potion or a specific method of something to do, and your hopes had been dashed. Whereas for spelling, it seems to be common across everybody that the thing was put in place, the first step to execute, and then the ability of spelling to start and everyone to have an OMG moment.
Yeah. We're getting 90% of that. Every once in a while, you're just feel
when you see the videos of people that have had that experience like you have.
Yeah, Stephen, we're not getting a lot of what you're saying. It's some of it's coming through and some of it's not coming through. So I'm gonna open to questions and maybe give your internet time to catch up or something.
Kind of sit back.
So maybe, and I'm hoping that Ben Williams can make it in. He's
how can you explain this to someone?
Yeah, you might not be hearing me either.
Just burst out when that first.
Yeah, you got such good things to say, and I wish we had a little bit better of a connection. But I want to open up to questions. Julie, I know you said you might need to jump off, but if you want to stay for a minute and see if anybody's got any questions for either the two of you guys, that might be helpful about spelling or presuming competence or anything.
Yes. And I've got one question for everybody out there while we are gathering those questions is, have you bought your book yet? Because it is time. It's time.
Yeah. Thank you for sure. Yeah. And yeah, a lot of people are dropping in the chat. I don't know. Can all of you guys can't see the chat. Can you see the chat, Julie? Or
not in the behind the scenes, but I've got it pulled up here on Facebook on my phone.
So you can see it if you're on Facebook. You can see a lot of these people. Okay, Madison says yes. Yeah. Okay, on Facebook I see. Okay, cool. I didn't really know if people could see the chat or not see the chat unless they were part of the live stream here or not. Stephen, Paulette, my wife said loved what you said at the beginning. I'm from the UK and I'm a proper stalker. She really seemed to like that little comment there as well. Yeah, and I see lots of people ordering. I don't know how quickly these. Let's see, in the private chat. There you go. I don't know how quickly the rankings update on Amazon. It seems to take a little. Thank you for people that are saying that they purchased their copies. Thank you for sure. But I know as of yesterday, when I was looking at the rankings, when the book was only available for pre-order. Actually, I think it went available yesterday for actual order a day early. And an audiobook that was supposed to be, we uploaded it on time to be today would be the day. If the timing is, there's like a window. It takes a certain number of days. It's like a 5-day window, but it could have uploaded or shown up on Amazon as quickly as last Friday. It might not be until Thursday or Friday of this week. But we tried to time it so that it would be today, so it would coincide with the actual book launch. I don't know if it's up. It wasn't up as of this morning, but of the categories that it was listed in, it was in the 800, number 900, or 800, number 500, number 700 in certain categories. And as of today, in one category, it moved it to the number 7 spot so far, and that was 2 hours ago, right? Number 7 on the bestseller rankings, and then one was at number 70. And then there was all the rest of them moved up to like number 180 or something like that. So it's moving up hundreds of spots. It doesn't happen like in real time. Like, you can see exactly how many orders are showing up there, but we'll see. In fact, I'll take a quick look right now and see. And if anybody's got a question for Julie or for Stephen, please drop it in the chat, and I'm going to do an update here on these two things. They haven't been moving like for the last 2 hours or so. Looks like the Kindle book is number 7, number 31, and number 70 in some certain categories. Number 70 in the category of fatherhood. It's a pretty big category. And then for the paperback and the hardcover, they're on the same category. One's moved into number 80 in fatherhood and hardcover and paperback. That's good. And then number 120 in parenting boys. And then number 174 in parenting books on children with disabilities. But those are the numbers that were there 2 hours ago. And I'm telling you, there's got to be at least 100 or 200 people that have bought copies here that are just put it in the chat here, it seems like. Or either texted me. A lot of people are texting me. They take a screenshot of the actual order and they're texting it over to me. So anyway, that's kind of fun. Fun it's happening. This live stream thing is cool. I want to do this every day. By the way.
It's like being in work.
Yeah. Oh, your video and your audio are much more clear now, Stephen. I don't know if you just got a wave of better data stream in your vehicle there. Where are you in the UK, by the way? Just out of curiosity. That's my question. Oh, now it slowed down again.
I got some good on my way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm roughly in the center of the middle of the UK. So you see the map kind of in the middle, in a place called Derby.
I've heard of Derby. All right, cool. Roughly in the center of the middle. Wow, that's pretty specific.
I'm in a place called Derby, which is in the middle of the UK.
All right. Yeah, fantastic. That's really, really great. Well, let's see. Well, you answered the questions. I had 4 questions written out, and you answered all the questions actually that I was going to ask about. So I think we're pretty good to go. We're pretty good to go in that. Let's see here. I've got an open slot. I got a 10-minute slot.
Well, we're such a small country compared to everywhere else. It's like, I'm there.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the delay. That's amazing. And we've got a 10-minute.
One of the things I wanted to let you know was that when I started the Persistence book,
we can hear you. He's waiting for. He's going to hear me say, "We can hear you" in just a minute.
Right. Maybe it'd be better, Stephen, if you wrote thoughts in the comments on the Facebook thread so everyone can see them, because we want to make sure that we hear you, but it's quite a delay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to move locations. Okay, cool.
All right, sounds good. Let's see, we got some new comments here. A lot of people saying that they, somebody has a niece that lives in Derby. Is Derby and Darby the same thing? I don't know if they're the same thing or not. But I wanted to, I was trying to give people an update on the book launch here. He's jumping off here a minute. Let me make sure I can. Okay, looks like he's jumped off, so I'm going to remove and let him come back in a little bit. All right. Well, Julie, now it's you and me. Okay, so we're back. We're back to it.
Yeah.
Julie, you work with some famous spellers, I guess. I should say, at least certainly Facebook famous and Donnie Wahlberg famous. I follow Andrew, or Jacob and Andrew. Jacob, I guess I see a lot more of on Facebook. And, Jacob is an inspiration. There was a video that was filmed over about an 8 or 9 hour period of time about him eating turkey sausage. I don't know if you were there at the time. You were there, right?
Yeah.
And of course, they didn't show the 8 hours of the entire video, but they showed, him eating turkey sausage. I don't even know how to describe it to someone without in an easy way. But I remember sending the video to a few people, Madison, my daughter being one of them, and she said it really helped to shift her perspective, because here's a young man who is a very unreliable speaker. And he's saying, I don't want turkey sausage. I don't like turkey sausage. Get rid of the turkey sausage. He's pushing it away. And then he would go over to his iPad and he would spell, don't listen to what I'm saying. I love trying new foods. New foods are like heaven in my mouth, and he's saying these things. And, but all the time he's spelling these things, but all the time what he's saying with his mouth is that he just, please get it away from me. And then he eventually tries a piece, and then he's having a conversation with his mom about, he doesn't like to waste money apparently. So he's like, how much it cost if I don't eat this, or something. And she's making commentary. And so they take this 8 or 9 hour thing and they break it down into like a 45-minute video, but it was just captivating and fascinating to me. What is it? I don't know if I could ask you, what is it like to work with people like that kind of are very, I don't know how many followers he has. And he and Andrew wrote his book, and his mom is a kind of a personality, a celebrity personality as well. Mm-hmm. What's that like? I guess working with Jacob.
Yeah. I mean, he's just, it blows my mind, welcome back. But it blows my mind because I remember one of the first things he shared when he had his breakthrough was, speaking to the mind differently from how you speak to the body. And so that is such a powerful video. Just go to Cards by Jacob with a K on Facebook, and search on their page for sausage,
turkey sausage or something like that.
Yeah.
It's Cards
by Jacob.
Yeah.
With a K and then sausage. Yeah. And I think in the text it just says it's not, I don't know that she specifies turkey. So yeah, just one of the first things he shared was speak to my mind. You got to speak to my mind and my body differently. And that really landed. And so, he's convincing. I think so he reminds me of Sam quite a bit, where Sam's convincing, right? Like his body will put up a fight for, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so just, getting to be a part of Jacob's journey has been nothing short of, it's just my jaw is on the floor because
Mhm.
so many opportunities and examples that are opening up for him now that he has access to communication, and he's just making such a big impact in everything he does, and it's really cool to watch, be a part
Yeah.
of.
Yeah,
I think
it's one of the ones I follow and watch a lot. You know, just the other day, last Tuesday, I was watching Sam with his current communication partner who does amazing work with him. And she had clients this morning, or would have joined us. I might do a whole nother live stream to introduce the world to her. But, you know, we did a check-in, right? A check-in, and we just asked him, hey, we want to check in and see, you know, how's it going, you know, because he hadn't been participating for a couple of days in his program that he's in. And they did the check-in, and when she asked him about it, he got really resistant. You know, he just, no check-in, you know, no, you know, she said, yeah, we'll just do it for a few minutes, and 0 minutes, you know, and his jaw clenches up and he's wrecking his hands, and it's like 10 minutes of this. And she basically almost gets to and she keeps saying, Sam, I'm not going to believe what you're telling me with your mouth. I need something reliable. I need you to spell it, you know, and he's just going and going and going. And then, so she gets to a point where she says, well, I'll just read the next part of the lesson that we're going to do. And she picks up the paper and starts to read it, and he pushes the paper away, and he starts to type, you know, and she uses a keyboard, you know, with him, where I'm still just using the letterboard. And he types, too many inconsistencies make my unruly body rigid, is what he typed. And you know, and his aide, Brianna, mentioned that, you know, there had been some inconsistencies. There's a schedule that they were supposed to do, and you know, they weren't necessarily following the schedule that they were supposed to schedule. And so he just wasn't participating in anything and couldn't get his body to do it. Just
Yeah.
amazing.
Like
may
that
I give some
schedule.
input?
Oh, sorry.
May I give some input?
Yeah, sure.
So one of the things that appeared in quite a few books, I think about 6, if I remember rightly, was to do with the way when things aren't consistent, how they are perceived. So one of the things that I've learned is that people with autism and different types, or the impacts, that they don't recognize time. So if you imagine being in the backseat of a car, and you go on a route, and you see images that you've seen previously, okay, and suddenly the car takes a left turn, okay, then if you don't perceive time, it could almost be like you're being kidnapped. Like you're taken somewhere else that's not in the process of time. And what I read in those books was that that is part of the ritual routine, and before, next, you know, the flow that people get, that's scheduling time as a journey plan. Okay, so it helps them perceive what's coming next. And what often happens, as I've read and then kind of condensed back into articles, was that that kind of juxtaposition of where they think they're going, that then causes the meltdown, then causes the body reaction. So there's like a stitching together of two different things. One is cause and effect, because the cause is not the way we perceive it. So the things that are not the same as they should be, or the ritual and routine, break the time perception.
Yeah.
In the presumed competent section, there's an article about this, which has a photograph of from the back seat of a car looking forward through the screen, and then a device called Wonder, which shows time not as a linear pathway, just so you can kind of, as a neurotypical, you can perceive that concept of maybe time not being perceived in the same way.
Yeah. Well, one of the things Sam spelled unprompted, and he didn't spell a lot of things unprompted. Usually there's a question and he's answering the question. But one time he was having a very unregulated time, and he typed, "Can time stop ordering me around?"
Wow.
Was what
Whoa.
he put in there one time.
Yes,
So,
that's exactly it.
and the thing is, he loves watches, you know, and ever since I can remember, he's always been about time, right? There's a chapter about, well, there's a few different chapters that get into some of this stuff that I think people are going to, when they read the rest of the book, they're going to be like, wow, the preview kind of sucked. Because it gets a lot better. I think it gets a lot better. There's some of the more profound things and really great life lessons. Hey, I have another guest that's jumping on here. It's Ben Williams from Scotland. So I am going to go ahead and give him the stage for just a little bit. And Julie and Stephen, thank you guys so much for all of your time. I'm going to get rid of Cards by Jacob now. But yeah, go, if you really get curious, guys, Cards by Jacob, and go search for the sausage video. It's really fantastic.
People can pop it in the Facebook link here on your live too.
Yes. Oh, great. Sounds really good. All right. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Stephen. You guys take care.
Thank you very much.
And,
Appreciate it.
all right, we'll do. And I'm gonna bring on Ben. See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Hey, Ben, there you are. Good.
Hi, J-Brad.
I think I may have given you like 2 or 3 different times to jump on here, but we've got some time here. I do have another guest that should be coming on shortly, but we'll work around it just a little bit. Hey, man, thank you so much. So you are in Scotland in your studio right now. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, on the coast, just east of Edinburgh, on the coast in a little town called Portobello.
All right. Well, good. Well, we just had Stephen, who was just on here. He is in Derby, in the UK.
Oh, okay.
So I had, I got a couple of friends from across the pond. I know I'm kind of a big deal now, apparently, because I got a book that's number 7 in a particular category. So I guess as a best-selling author, that makes me somebody.
Congratulations.
I don't know. Well, listen, you guys, for those of you that don't know Ben, which is probably everybody on this call, probably on this show, sound engineer behind the Real Words with Sam audiobook, which is not on Amazon yet. I was trying to explain earlier how, we uploaded it so that the ideal time would be it would go live today, but you never really know because it could be like a 5-day window. But your company is called Brand Out Loud Designs, and you were kind enough to read the preview chapters before we started working together, which is kind of a prerequisite of mine. If someone wants to work with me, I had some publishers that I interviewed. I sent them the preview sample, and they didn't read it before they met with me. They pretty much should. I'm not interested in working with them if they don't care about what the material is. But you did that, and you are the secret behind taking my voice and making it sound the way it should sound for an audiobook. So you read the preview chapters first. What was your impression before we started working together?
It was my impression was that it had a fantastically direct and economical style of language, but it was very direct and open and quite, you're quite disarmingly, you're sort of fairly excoriating in a way of yourself at times, and you're very, very honest in the way that you approach the lessons you've learned and how you got there, as well as, stories about Sam and the family. So I think for me, I'm a father of a neurodivergent son. So they're very different, but I recognized a lot in there, a lot of the things that you'd kind of come to realize. There was a line I think I said to you at the time and it goes to that sort of understated quality you have about presuming competence. It's just 2 words, but it's quite profound when you actually think about it. Just presuming competence. And yeah, I found it very affecting without being, it was understated, but very affecting to me.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for that. And that meant a lot. You've worked on a lot of audiobooks. I don't know how many, maybe you could tell me roughly how many, if you know how many. What do you think makes this one stand out?
I don't even know. It's dozens. So more than that, probably. I think it's 2 things. It's the power of of those stories and the way that you approach them, the sort of father and son stories for me personally, and then the way that you deliver it in the audiobook, I think I might have said to you right at the beginning of the process that it's quite common for people to kind of go all the way through and then almost want to do it again, because it's a journey and you discover your voice as you go, and you learn how to kind of emote. But I think with yours, it was fascinating because that process happened within the first 2 chapters. So I think the first 2 chapters were good, they were solid, but then somewhere around the 3rd chapter, you just took off and started relaxing into it more. It was also for me, a very, there's a lot of trust involved because, I hear everything. I hear every hiccup. I hear every restart. If you're becoming emotional, I hear that too. But it's also very affecting for me sitting here listening to it. It's just me in a dark room with a pair of headphones on and a person's voice, and my role is to kind of to capture you at your best, but not to be aiming for perfection, but to be aiming for sort of authenticity. And I basically try and remove anything that takes the person out of the story. So that's the golden rule, really. If it's a little hitch in the voice, but it pulls you in, it stays in.
Yeah. Well, I would say it was really easy to work with you. I felt like, and, you just said, make your recording, and, if you mess up, just snap your fingers or clap your hands. I snap my fingers and just say that sentence again, as long as, and you said, as long as you have the manuscript, you can go back and you can cut them out. And there were chapters where I might say the same sentence or two 6 times. And I would have the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable, or something. And I just didn't say it the way that was most effective. And I don't even know if I got the way the most effective. And then of course there's times where I'm just, can't even get through a sentence because I'm bawling my eyes out and I have to say it 3 or 4 times. And from what I've heard, I think I've listened to all the chapters. You can tell I'm getting emotional, and you can hear it in my voice, but it's done in such a way that you can understand everything. And that's what, that's the goal, right?
Exactly. And sometimes we'll just let it run. And sometimes we'll pick a slightly cleaner cut. And sometimes we'll cut literal ends of sentences and words together because we want that emotionality, but we want people to hear you.
Yep. I appreciate it. Well, listen, I recommend you to anybody who's recording an audiobook. I don't know if you just take anybody, that's doing a book as a customer, or if you're very selective or picky, but your company is Brand Out Loud Design. And if you want to drop into the comments on the chat, I think you can do that here, like your company's website or something like that. Anybody who wants to record an audiobook, you made the process really simple and really easy. And we're very generous and accommodating. So I appreciate all that.
Well, thank you. And I'm proud and honored to have been a part of it. It's genuinely my favorite one yet. So
wow.
That's genuine. I think it's a really powerful and important
great
work.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. And, I might have a few more books in me. I started several. In fact, my next guest I'm about to join is John Israel, and he's written a few books. I don't know if he's got audiobook versions of them or not, but I'll introduce you guys real quick. Hey, there's John. And,
hey, how's it going?
And Ben. Ben, I'm gonna put you back on the off stage into the green room. Okay, so feel free to stick around as long as you like.
All right. Cheers. Okay.
Hey, John.
How's it going, Mr. Brad Britton?
Welcome to the show.
Here we are.
So the person I was just talking to, Ben, obviously the audiobook guy, I was telling him, you heard me saying this, but, I've started writing a bunch of books, right? Maybe a dozen or so. And, anywhere from 25% to 70% done with some of them. But because of you, this book came about. Let me introduce you to the people that don't know who you are, by the way. I got my introduction here written, so I'll be able to say it. So John Israel, you are one of the 2 people who told me clearly and directly that this was the book that I needed to finish. I needed to write. I was having a conversation with you and one other person, Hal Elrod. You and I go way back. Our friendship was forged way back in the Cutco world. And you encouraged me at a moment where it really mattered. A lot of people may know you as Mr. Thank You, the creator of the Mr. Thank You Project. And also you host your own podcast called Becoming Irreplaceable. You've been featured on Good Morning America, ABC News, Fox News. So you're kind of a big deal. So we are appreciative that you are even here. So thank you for that. So you told me that this book was a book that I needed to write. And I think I forwarded you the email yesterday that you had sent to me. So for you to review what you had said. So what did you see in that? And it wasn't even the full preview. It was just the one chapter. I just written one chapter, and it wasn't even called Real Words with Sam at the time. You had encouraged me to call it Perpetual Patience. It was the title of the book, which is great. And maybe there will be another book at some called that. But what was it in that that you might recall that made you think that this was the one that needed to be finished?
I think there's always room for bringing hope to the hopeless. And when a parent has a different child, it can very easily feel hopeless because it's not as clear cut as like, hey, someone's got this disease, we're going to apply this medicine and that disease goes away. Or when children have, whether it be autism or, as you know, we have a daughter with what's called agenesis of the corpus callosum, which for anyone who doesn't know what that is, which is most people, the corpus callosum is the center part of the brain that separates the left and the right hemispheres. It's also the freeway in which the left and right brains communicate. So our daughter was born without that. And and y'all came out to our house a while back and got to meet our daughter, Trinity Grace. She's 5 now. And it was one of the most challenging and terrifying times as a parent when she was 3 months old and she had her first seizure. And we're like, what is this? And then the slow reveal of what is this? What does it mean? And then there's this space of, as a parent, you have to start divorcing yourself from the future you've already imagined for your child, right? Because we all do that, right? We have a child and we think about what are they going to be into? Who are they going to marry one day? And I think you were probably the first person that I met, obviously well before I was even married, who had a child with autism or a child who had special needs. And so for me, I've always known you to be, very gracious, very patient, very loving. And obviously you had stepped away from the Cutco company at that time to help take care of your son, help your wife, and, go through this really new chapter of life. So for me, you and Paulette were one of the first resources we reached out to. And so when you were telling me about this book and especially, the hope that you started to have reinvigorated in you with the process of learning how to help Sam spell was something, number one, I'd never heard or seen. And I think as a parent who does deal with a child who has special needs and has grown in so many miraculous and beautiful ways, I think there's always space to bring hope to the hopeless, to help people have a vision for the future that might be better than the past. And I thought that's what your book does.
All right. Yes. Well, I definitely appreciate that. And, that email from you at that time was very meaningful for me, and I give you kudos in the acknowledgments of the book, and I'm giving them to you here now. And you may not have realized, and I think that's an important thing. And you, as Mr. Thank You, your little notes of gratitude and just notes of encouragement, or whether it's verbal, we never know that one little thing you might say can have a profound impact on somebody. I have dozens of people that talk to me about there was this one time, J. Brad, when I got this note in the mail, or you said this one thing to me, and that shaped like the next 20 years of my life or something. And I'm like, really? And sometimes you don't even remember the conversation. It's just you're just trying to treat people right. So your whole life's work, at least in the last many years, is built around making people feel seen, valued, and appreciated, right? And of course, something that is very close to my heart. So when you read the early chapters, now that you've read the full preview, do you feel like some of the things you saw are just kind of consistent in general with your whole Mr. Thank You and encouragement projects that you've been part
of? Well, so my mission in life is to inspire people to connect so that humanity is heard, seen, honored, and respected, right? So virtually everything I do is in somehow, shape or form around that. And I think what's fun about what I get to do, which kind of leads into what your book is I didn't invent anything new. I simply just brought awareness and attention to something that is often ignored, which is that while life seemingly is so hard and difficult and terrible things are happening all around us at any given second, there's also tons of beauty, right? There's while in any given second, there's a coyote eating a bunny, there is someone dying of cancer, there's someone losing a job. There is also at that exact same moment, somebody who, a baby being born, there is someone getting a life-changing job, and there is someone, recovering from a serious disease. And so there's always these data points at any given moment, and our brains are wired to bring attention to the negative. Like that's just a default survival mechanism. It's called the negativity bias. And so for me, I just set forth for 1 year unknowing, like I didn't, for those of you who don't know, what I did was I did a project where I hand wrote 5 thank you cards every single day for 365 days in a row. It sounds so seemingly simple, and yet it was so ridiculously hard because we are not wired to look for the good. We are wired to look for what's wrong, what could go wrong, and any threats around us. So for me, it was this really fascinating just project of your life begins to be about what you bring your attention to, right? So bring this over to your book, right? So you self-disclose your own, whether you call it shame or embarrassment, that your son had lived this entire life and you feel like you'd already figured him out, right? Like you figured you'd already known who Sam was based on your experience and what you've seen. And I think most of us can go through life like that. We can go through life already defining who people are. We can go through life defining what our career is going to look like, and based on the evidence that we've seen. And now for you, there is a reality of there's only so much your son could express and share with you, right? But because you are willing to stay engaged in the possibility for him of his growth, you are able to be open to see something that like opened an entire universe of who your son was. And I think that's the root of appreciation. It's the ability and willingness to take the time to be present enough with somebody or something long enough to find the good, right? And I think it's always bigger and it's always more than we expect. And I think for your son, that was just a really beautiful example of I cried reading your book because I was just like, I could only imagine as a parent, like with my own dog, she's only 5 years old, so she's still in a certain cognitive level, but later as she grows, like what else is going on there for her that I don't even know? And I think that the world, and not to denounce any modern science, but I do feel there's a lot of it that tries to protect us from having too high hopes for our children who have these challenges, and to already kind of put them in a box. But I think, God calls us to see the possibility in everybody and to never shut out who they can be. So for me, that's a lot what kind of came out from your book for me.
Yeah, that's really great. And, I think we're aligned in a lot of ways, in so many ways. And we go back for so long. There was a time, wasn't there a time for like 6 months where we like talked every morning, or like four mornings a week or something? And I would ask you this question at the beginning of the day. Hey, what would need to happen today for when you lay your pretty little head on the pillow tonight, that it was a successful day, right? Do you remember having that conversation? It seemed like I asked you that question like 100 times.
I'm sure I probably needed it, because I think my default mechanism before Mr. Thank You Project was like, life sucks and life is hard, and why does life have to be so hard for someone like me? Like that's just kind of a natural response for people, I think. So
yeah. Well, I've got another guest waiting. I said earlier that I should have done, if I had this to do over again, I would do like 7 different live streams with every guest and be able to give 30 minutes to an hour to every single guest, because there's a lot of things we could get into on this. And you mentioned something about potentially having me as a guest on your podcast, which of course I'm obviously open to doing as well. And I think that there could be some really good synergy there. But last thing I'll ask you this, and based on what you've read so far, who do you think this book is for?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this book is for anybody, especially who has the has or is in touch with anyone who has special needs, right? So that might be, of course, if you're a parent, right? If you're a sibling, and especially if you are a family member, right? So a grandparent, an aunt or uncle, because I think one thing that people it's really hard, I think, for sometimes when people have a special needs child to ask for help, and to, because it's like, this is my burden to bear. You know, God gifted me this child this is my burden to bear.
Yeah.
But I also believe that when you can have a level of understanding, there's a different level of compassion you can bring to help and support people who are going through something like that.
Yeah.
So that's who I believe this book is for.
Yeah, good. Well, and that's what a lot of people, especially people who haven't even read the preview, they'll say that, and then as people get into it, and especially people that have seen the preview, like you have in other parts, listen to maybe a little bit of the audiobook. This is a message and a story with lessons for parents, of course, whether they have special needs or not. Right. Some of the most profound responses that I've gotten are from people who don't have anybody that they know with special needs. And they're like, wow, this spoke to me, and here's why. And so it's for parents, regardless, educators, people of faith, and for anybody who's ever been underestimated or has ever underestimated anybody, or dealt with hard things or is dealing with hard things, which is pretty much everybody, right? I mean, there's people that deal with challenge in life. And there's going to be some things that are going to resonate, very, very deeply. So I appreciate you sharing that. Well, listen, John, I am, hopefully we will connect here very soon. Next time you're in San Diego. You said I could go to one of your speeches and I could man the book table and sell your books for you. And I'm totally open to doing that. Okay.
That'd be fun.
You give me the heads up and we'll make that happen. All right, sir. Hey,
All
thanks for stopping on your drive, by the way, just to be able to do this live stream with me. That meant a lot.
You bet. This is coming live from Buffalo, Texas. Wherever that is.
Very nice. All right. Thanks, John.
All right, see you.
Bye. All right. Hey, Dawn Marie, thank you for your patience in waiting in the wings right there.
Of course. My pleasure.
Listen, yeah, we had a little bit of mix up with our sound engineer. He was he got the time mixed up. Anyway, so we started running about 10 minutes behind. So Dawn Marie, you are mentioned in the book of A Time or Two. You're the co-creator of the Spellers Method. You're the executive producer or director of the Spellers Freedom Foundation. You're one of the top advocates really in the world, certainly in the United States, around spelling. And people might think, what do you need an advocate for? This is this awesome thing that just is amazing. Well, it's surprising the controversy that surrounds this whole thing. But you've been working 2 decades at the intersection of autism, communication, and presuming competence. And you know Sam personally. You're the person that after COVID, after we stopped working with Julie, when we got back to where we could start getting him involved in spelling again, we started meeting with you. And you made, you're the one that really got Sam to the point where he could, like his first open, question where he spelled the amazing and insightful phrase, what do you like to answer the question, what do you like to do? And he told us relaxing in an easy chair was quite a profound moment for us.
Yep, I remember.
Yeah. So here's a question. I know I put some questions for you here. When a dad writes a book about his son learning to spell, and you're reading it with a different eye than most everybody else is reading. In fact, everybody has a unique worldview, but yours is quite unique. What did you notice at this book that's gonna, you think it's gonna speak to people?
Well, I think what's really, well, first of all, you're an amazing writer, and Sam, of course, is an amazing human being with a heart as big as the size of Texas, if not the entire United States. So just reading your words and hearing his voice and seeing, knowing him personally and seeing how well you related that on the pages was just amazing. But as a provider and a clinician, and I think about the families that look into spelling and typing as a method of communication for their child, they often don't consider it if their child's sensory and motor profile, it's like a technical term we'll use, right, looks like your son's. So Sam, has a lot of speech, and people think, well, why would my son need to bypass using his speech in order to communicate more profoundly or more reliably or more authentically? And so I appreciated that the book was written by you and Sam, because there's a whole lot of people that don't realize how much typing would benefit their child, just like your son. We think, of course, a non-speaker, like when people hear non-speaker, they think zero speech, or what we used to say as nonverbal. You think, well, I've got to try augmentative and alternative communication. And there's a disbelief, and it's been proven in the literature, that using AAC does not reduce speech in kids. It actually improves speech in kids. And for kids who have somewhat unreliable speech, bypassing the pressure to use their voice to express what they're thinking lowers their anxiety and allows for more profound output through typing and spelling. And so you guys have lived that firsthand. And that journey from day one back with Julie to when Sam got to the place where he could actually use the keyboard for those open-ended thoughts was kind of a long journey, but in the scheme of his lifespan, it's a short period of time, right? When you think about, there's several years, but he's going to hopefully live a very long and robust life. And the whole rest of it, he gets to communicate reliably and openly. So I'll ask you, was the juice worth the squeeze?
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And and it took a long time, and there's times when I was wondering, well, I was impressed when he just would spell a word, like spell the word ocean, and he would spell the word. I'm like, yes, that's amazing. And who are the Beatles? And he typed out John Paul, George, and Ringo. I'm like, yes. I was super, super pumped. And when he started answering just one word answers, but then when he started, answering open questions, worth it. A couple of years of practicing, but yeah, totally worth it. Yeah. And you mentioned, non-speakers, people would say, oh yeah, sure, we got to try it with a non-speaker. Well, I would argue that a non-reliable speaker like Sam, who, or not just Sam, but so many with apraxia, they're saying the opposite of what they want.
Correct.
Right? What's coming out of their mouth. And so often it's the exact opposite. Well, what do you even do with that as a parent or a caregiver of any kind? It's just total living completely confused at all times.
Right. I'll tell parents who will come to me, when they say, well, is my child a speller? Like, are they a speller? And the questions I ask them are like, well, can you have a conversation with them where you can even ask them questions, say, about their day, and can they give you that information and ask you questions back? Like, can you have a reciprocal conversation with them? Now, our kids are all very smart, and they've learned lots of survival strategies. Like, I know so many spellers who have a lot of speech and can use movie scripts in order to answer questions. Like, that's using the part of their brain that's easier to retrieve that language from to the motor strip. Yeah, it's amazing, right? But is it fluent? Is it easy for them? Like, if it's not, then actually spelling and typing can greatly reduce the amount of work that it takes for the body to express that language. So, because all forms of communication require some type of proficient motor skill, right? So it is confusing. Parents will say, well, he says he doesn't want to do this. I'm like, I have spellers who in the room will be like, I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home. And you put the letterboard down and ask them like, I don't want to go. I'm really excited. I don't know why my voice is saying that right now.
Yeah. That's Sam. He'll talk about going somewhere for a month, and then when we get to the place, before we've even gone into whatever it is, he says, go home.
Yeah.
He wants to go home, and it just, it just makes no sense.
But now you can put a letterboard, right? And you can say, hey, I hear what your voice is saying. Can you confirm for me how you're really feeling right now? Because what he spells out is going to be much more reliable, right? It's not an automatic motor response, like practiced words that he said over and over again. They just kind of come out unexpected. Yeah. You get more purposeful speech or communication through the letterboard. So it's nice, right? You stop getting into analysis paralysis around when is he talking and means it, and when is he talking and he's scripting or it's unreliable. And now you have a tool like to bridge that gap.
Yeah. Yeah. And we just have to have more and more practice. And I need to talk to you or or Julie or somebody about I need to take some actual classes. I think you guys have cohorts and things like that for parents. And, I've been work with Ashlyn, and she lets me spell and she watches me and she coaches me a little bit, but I need to get the full on training of it, because for us to take full advantage of this, Sam's got to be able to spell at home in a kind of a conversational manner. And we're not there at all yet, because of course he just tells me, no, I'll bring the letterboard, try to ask him a question. And probably it's just, I need an hour and a half or 2 hours of just patience and telling him, encouraging him and prompting him to get it done is what needs to happen.
Well, and kids, I in my experience, and I have 2 sons, right, with autism. One is non-speaking and one is a minimal speaker. My minimal speaker has much more anxiety actually than my non-speaker. And I think society as a whole, and maybe even me in my parenting before spelling, my expectations were a little bit higher. Like I would ask a question and I'd want a verbal response. And anyway, when you're trying to get into a new rhythm, let's say with you and Paulette and Sam spelling at home, it's going to take practice getting his nervous system ready for the new, like, this is our new routine. And that's all part of it. Right. And we've seen it with thousands of kids at this point over the past 10 to 12 years. So you'll get there. And the good news is Sam has an outlet for his communication now, and you've captured it all in this amazing book, which is so exciting.
Yeah. Well, I had several questions, and I've said this now 5 times. I'm just learning about, this live stream thing. My next guest, Amber, is the one who basically set the framework to, hey, you should have a live stream on your book launch day. And she talked about people having like 4-hour live streams and 5-hour live streams. I'm like, what? That's crazy. But I should have probably have just had like a live stream every day, but 7 days in a row for 30 minutes to an hour with each guest, because there's so much more to talk about and cover. But Don Marie, listen, I thank you for your time. I know you're a super busy person, and I appreciate you being here.
Happy to be here.
Supporting the book. And let's talk about some cohort classes or some things, because I definitely am at a place in my life where I want to improve on my ability to help Sam be able to spell at home and communicate that way. That'll be better for all of us.
I love that. Okay. Well, good luck. Congratulations again.
Right. Thanks. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.
Yay!
Amber, hello. Thank you so much for your patience here. I got my times mixed up with Ben Williams, and he came on about 20 minutes later than I had planned, and kind of
it happens, man. It happens. But we've been celebrating you all day. I got up bright and early, and I was checking the rankings and sending out promotion. And then I had a cohort today, and we were all celebrating you. Dr. Kurt left our cohort because he wanted to support you, then came back and he's like sharing the link. And I'm like, wait, guys.
Yeah, I see Kurt's he's posting in the chat right now.
He's awesome. I mean, you have so much support here from the NGNG community, and it's genuine, and just the biggest congratulations. This is a book that every single human being needs to read. And I mean that with all my heart. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to introduce you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for that. We should let people who don't know who you are know who you are. So everyone, this is Amber. She is the founder of NGNG Enterprises. She is a books and business strategist. She is the person behind the launch of hundreds of best-selling books, including some pretty big names in the personal development world. Her team built the website that most everybody here probably has gone to look at. She's a coach, she's a strategist, and she's been a really straight shooter with me through this entire process. She read the preview chapters the morning before we met. I remember her telling me the story about, I was going to try to read 10 pages and I had to get ready for a meeting and do my makeup and all these things. And she said, I started reading it. And then I just said, forget the makeup, forget the other things. I gotta, I gotta finish it. So
put it down.
And what she talked about that day when we finally met, it meant a lot. So anything you just want to say to start out? You already said everybody needs to read the book, which is fantastic. Anything you want to say? I've got a couple of questions.
True. I mean, I get manuscripts all the time, right? And I I've worked with thousands of authors over the past almost 20 years, including many big names that you'd probably recognize. But so I just have a unique vantage point. I've read lots of books in lots of different industries, and I'm also very well researched. I understand what's going on in the world right now, what's happening inside of people's psyches right now. And, so I just have a lot of experience in this world. And so when I got Jay Brad's manuscript, just a few chapters, it was 32 pages. And I'm like, oh my God, how do I get through this before our meeting? Because I've known you, I wanted to show you respect, and I wanted to see what the book was about, of course. And so I start reading it, and it was like, I was almost hypnotized, like a spell went over me. And it was just, I dove into the words. And the thing about this book is like each word is so precious. It is so carefully and intentionally chosen. And the way that these words string together hit you in so many different parts of yourself, parts that you didn't even know were in there. But it's intellectually stimulating, it's emotionally stimulating, it's spiritually stimulating. It offers you intense accountability and self-love at the same time, but love for other people. And it radically shifts the way that you look at the human experience. And I don't know, for me, Jay Brad, I was in tears, like pages at 9, not even 10 pages in, I was in tears, glued, and I didn't skim it. I didn't quickly read through it. I hung on the words and gave them the respect that they deserved, because I could tell you took such an intense level of care with the way that you wrote this, and the style, the formatting. I mean, it's actually a very simple read. But oh my gosh, it hits on so many deep levels inside of you. It's incredible. It's probably the most honest book I've ever read in my life. It is honest in ways that most people would never dare to be this honest. And I just had so much respect for that, because it's hard using your voice. It's so hard using your voice, especially in this day and age when people are just so quick to bash and comment and, say mean things because they don't care. They're hiding behind a digital screen or whatever. You really went for it. And you didn't go halfway. You went like 180%. On every line, which is like, as an author myself, I tried to calculate how much time you put into writing this manuscript, and there is no calculation for it. I can't even imagine what you and your family have experienced putting these words together, and I just thank you. And that's why I think every single human being needs to read this.
Wow. Well, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
See, you should have had me first.
I don't know exactly how to do much responding to that. You answered basically the question I was going to ask you about, who do you think the book is for?
Well, actually, I could say something else about that if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Because one of the things that really struck me, I mean, it's obviously for families, with an autistic child, let's say. That might be the obvious audience. But to me, I was reading it, and there was a line that stood out to me that said, Sam's challenge isn't comprehension, it's expression. And I have to tell you, for me, that landed like 1,000 bricks on my head. I mean, Sam's challenge is expression. And for my line of work, I mean, Jay Brad, all day long, call after call after call after call after call. I'm talking with leaders, some CEOs of huge international corporations to emerging leaders that were stay-at-home moms that had a message to share with the world, and everybody in between. The thing that they all have in common is a challenge with expression. They have so much resistance to visibility. They have so much fear and anxiety about saying what they really want to say. And it's because they inherited some belief when they were a kid that says when you're seen and heard, bad things happen. Like somebody made fun of you on the playground, or you got punished, or whatever happened. You were misunderstood. You were rejected. So we have a real challenge with expressing our truth in the world. And I just started thinking about Sam's experience. Now I'm an empath, major tender heart here, and I can't even imagine what it must be like for him to be as smart as he is, to understand at the level he does, and not be able to express, like, oh. And it just got me thinking on this bigger scale of how humanity right now is really in a crisis of expression. We are a lot of times taught to suppress, to behave, to be quiet, to not stir the pot. You know what I mean? We also live in a time where, mistrust, disillusionment has never been higher. And what we need are people that like you, that dare to be honest and to dare to self-express, so that your light can shine, your impact can matter, and we can all shift into a more conscious state of being. And that's just my belief system. That's what I see and experience all day long. So this book, it's not just for parents. It's not just for families. I wish this book would go into corporate. I wish it would go into mastermind and membership communities. I wish it would go to nonprofit associations. I wish that somebody would show up today, J. Brad, and send you an email and say, I want to donate $10,000 to you. I want to have you buy as many books as you can buy for 10 grand and distribute them as widely as you can. And I challenge, especially those of you who are high net worth individuals and you're looking for a worthy cause, donate to J. Brad. Get this book out, because I'm telling you, there's something very special and unique about this book.
Wow. Well, luckily unfortunately I'm hearing from a lot of people. I worked really hard to get a lot of eyeballs on the preview chapters. Because I don't necessarily want anybody to buy the book just to support me or to support Sam, or, the Britons, we know them for a long time, so let's buy a book. I want people to buy it because they think they're going to get value out of it. And so I made, it's a quarter of the book that's available for free. And I know you with your book, you just gave it away for free, period. Or your books, I guess. But I want people to experience it. And you got access to the rest of the book. I think you saw the manuscript, but I don't know that you've had a chance to read through all the beginning of it. In fact, I'm pretty sure you said you weren't going to.
I intentionally have not, because I really want to have the physical copy. So I did pre-order it. I'm like, wait, I'm waiting. I left my review, but I want to experience it in my hands when I finish the whole thing. So it's not a sign of disrespect. I'm actually dying to get my hands on that book.
I think you said you want to sit down with a glass of white wine and no
This is a book to savor. This is not a book to just read and throw into the pile. This is a book to really savor and use as reflection for, the times where you didn't use your voice, or the times where somebody else didn't use their voice and you had a misunderstanding and it fractured the relationship, and it all could have been solved with like a simple conversation, And so there's just, you want to ruminate in the deeper messages that this book has to offer. And then, you want to use that to shift your worldview and the way that you lead, whether you're leading a family, whether you're leading a community or a business. I mean, there's just a lot here for you.
Well, I will be anxiously awaiting your final review once you've gone through the whole thing. I do believe the best parts come after the preview. And some are going to resonate more with some people, and others resonate more with other people. I will. I know you've got a lot in your schedule, and so you may not have a lot of time. But I have one last question that I wanted to ask, and this one kind of puts myself out there just a little bit. So you work with authors to build businesses around their books, and I've been resistant to that, to building a business around this book. There's a part of me that feels like the message actually is that it would make the message and the honoring of Sam disingenuous. You would probably argue with that, and that's fine. So, but my question is, because eventually you kind of accepted what I was saying, at least to me that you did. I realize. But what do you think? Where do you think I may be right about this, and where do you think I might be wrong in leaving something on the table? I'm just saying this in front of the whole, anybody.
In front of the whole world. Sure. Well, I think we just need to recognize that this isn't about you. You said that, right? So I'm kind of pulling on what you just said. This really isn't about me. That's not why we wrote this. I hope everybody finds value in the book itself. So that's true. That's your intent, right? Your intent is not to dupe people and transact and trigger them and, get as much money as you can out of them. So I think it's really important that we look at your intention behind building the business or brand, right? We also need to recognize that if you do believe that there's value in this book, as I know that you do, and so many other people have validated that, I guess to me, I look at it as it is a massive disservice for this message not to get out into the world. It wasn't just the hours that you put into this book, J. Brad. It was the hundreds of thousands or millions of hours of a lived experience. You were, one way to look at it is you were gifted this unique experience. And if we just keep it to ourselves, it lives and dies with us, right? But we think about the value that it actually has, all of the nuance that you share inside of the book. That's value that hundreds of thousands or millions of other families could use to improve their situation, to shift their worldview, to help their family, to help their community. So it's not that you have an obligation, but man, I do think that you have a huge opportunity to use this gift to help other people. And to me, that's where I focus. I'm not focused on building NGNG to make as much money as possible to sit on a yacht in Jamaica. The more money that I can have NGNG generate, the more I can reinvest into NGNG to get its message out, right? Mm-hmm. So to me, if you want to get grant money, you want to fundraise, or you want to start a business, a membership where people have a safe space to be as honest as you are, a safe space where love is running the show, right? Because your book really teaches a lot about self-love and love for one another and that sort of thing, in my view anyway, then great. But either way, get as much money that you possibly can so that you can reinvest back into getting books to distribute this as wide and far as you possibly can, so that the hours, the tears, the stress, the worries, the sleepless nights, it was all for something beyond just what your family can experience. I think that there's something here for all of us. I mean, I know that you forever changed me when I read that first 32-page document. I think it was 32 pages. Mm-hmm. You forever changed me in that moment. Now, I have used that impact in my work all day, every day, in my parenting. It has shifted me and my impact forever. So I guess it's not just about you. It's an invitation to anybody with a book. Like, please do something with it. Please.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it certainly opened the door to some ideas and some thoughts and some more books that I haven't even started. I started several, but I have this idea just around, I call it hashtag listen first. The idea about listening first, not, listen first to people around you, to loved ones, listen first to your body, listen first to your creator. Just the idea of leading with, I'm as a person, I lead with gratitude, generally speaking in communication. But when it comes to, also in communication, lead with listening, and there's a keynote TED talk or something, around that, using some of the lessons from this, the experiences with Sam probably there too. But anyway, that's just a place that I've got to spend a lot of time.
Just the beginning for you, my friend. And what a beautiful journey it's going to be. I'm really proud of you. I'm proud to be here. I'm so happy that I get to be one that gets to celebrate you.
All right. Well, that's awesome. Cool. That's awesome.
And Paulette and Sam. I mean, I carry all of you in my heart.
Yeah. Well, this is not easy for me to listen to all these people say all these super nice. Well,
It's
it's
not.
kind of easy. It's kind of easy, but kind of not easy, at the same time. So,
Maybe easier than it would have been a year ago, though.
yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Well, I'm 15 minutes longer, or at least 10 minutes longer for this live stream than we had originally planned it. But Amber, I thank you for your time. I think for all the people that joined us. I know that the number of people has been kind of going up and down, and lots of people texting me, sending me WhatsApp messages, sending me emails, sending me things in the group chat with their picture of I ordered my book and all that type of thing. So I don't know how long it would take Amazon's rankings to make any shifts, but I mean, yesterday it went from, number 800, number 700, number 700 in certain categories to, in the 200s. And one category, we made it to number 7 in one of the Kindle categories. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to do a refresh and see if it changes.
It'll jump up. Sometimes it'll stall. I've had it stall for as much as 8 hours on launch day, and it's just horrible.
I see that. It's not.
Keep ordering, everybody. Keep supporting J. Brad. Tell your friends, tell your family. Don't forget to leave him a review. This is really important stuff, not just for our egos, but because the message will get out to people we couldn't reach otherwise.
Now, when people order the book, I don't think they can leave a review, or can they leave a review the day they order it? Because Amazon's like, well, how could you leave a review? You haven't even seen it yet.
Yes, that's true. If you ordered the paperback or hardcover, you shouldn't leave a review because it might get rejected until you receive the physical copy.
Yeah.
But what I did is I ordered the paperback, and then I ordered the Kindle at the same time. And then when you get the Kindle, that gives you the right to leave a review immediately, which is what I did.
Yeah. I was talking to, I can't remember if it was a person or if it was AI, but that said that you need to swipe through like 5 to 10 pages of the Kindle version.
That was me.
And you told me that. Yeah,
I told you that.
So you're smarter than AI apparently, or you sound like.
Everybody, you heard it here first.
So you need to swipe through 5, a few pages at least, so that the Amazon picks up that they read enough to be able to leave a review. They don't know that you may have already read a quarter of the book because you got it on the website. All right. Well, Amber, thank you so much for that. I'm sure we'll be talking more and more when you get your copy. Oh, anybody who's still that's here's listening, here's something I think is a good thing to do, right? When you get your copy of the book, like take a selfie with the book and post that on social media, right? Is that a thing that people should do?
Text J. Brad the photo of you holding the book, and then you can also put it on social media. You can even attach it when you leave your review on Amazon. But just make sure that J. Brad gets a copy of it, because we want social proof. We want to show that people have the book and are enjoying the book, right? So please do that.
Awesome. Is there a place? Could we put a place on the website that anybody who sends in a picture with them holding the book, we can put their picture up on there?
Contact form. They can text you or DM it to you on social media, something like that. I would keep it simple.
Yeah, but if I have them, we could build something on the website where we could.
Absolutely. Yep. Like I have a scrolling bar on my book sales page of people holding the book, which is really fun.
Make people famous. Kurt Steele asked, when can I get it signed? I can sign it. Getting Sam to sign it's a little more of a challenge to do it. I've been talking to him about it, and there's a place in the Amber. I know that you got to go, so if you've got to jump off, you jump off. And
I do have to run, but actually, I want to say something. With Sam, there are these things called book plates, and he can sign his name one time, and it almost turns into a sticker. So you can buy 1,000 of the stickers and put it inside of the book as Sam's real signature. So he's not having to sign so many times. It's called a book plate.
A book plate. Okay. Because Paulette was thinking about it, because one of the questions that they asked him after the lady astronaut who writes children's books, I can't remember her name now. I should remember, but she signs her books off. She signs her books with a tagline, and they asked Sam, if you write books, what would your tagline be? And he wrote, he wrote "Steal moments of joy" was what his tagline would be if he wrote books. So anyway, we're trying to get him to write that, and he always signs all of his cards to mom and dad and whoever love Sam. So he could do Still Moments of Joy, Love Sam. And then we could put that,
That's
at
perfect.
least the Still Moments of Joy part. The Love Sam part, if someone wanted to get an actual, I think I could get him to sign, 10 a day part, possibly, with it's the words Love Sam on there. But anyway,
I would consider a book plate. Yeah.
plate. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we'll
We
see.
can talk about it offline.
It's not
but-
a stamp. It's a, anyway, we can talk about it later.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Amber, for your time, and everybody who paid attention and listened. I'll let you go, and I'll just spend 30 seconds saying goodbye to everybody. Thanks. All right. Well, if for some reason you have not ordered a copy of the book or haven't read the preview and you would rather read the preview, do it right there. Orders matter, and Amazon reviews matter just as much or even more. So if you want to leave a review right away, get the Kindle version, swipe through 5, 6, 10 pages, and then leave a review on Amazon. So far, none of the reviews on Amazon have showed up yet. I think it takes a few days. But if you've downloaded the preview sample, I will be sending out to the email group that it created from that. I'll just be sending out an update in the next day or two on, how the launch has gone, and how we reached up in the rankings, and if we could reach, praying that we could reach number 1 in at least one category, that'd be great, and that way the book could have a banner on it on Amazon, number 1 bestseller. That would be fantastic. So Kurt says, Kurt, you're going to ship me a copy of your book. And all right, Kurt, listen, we were going to sell hand signed copies from Sam for $999 each. So I'm just teasing. I don't know. I know some people have they charge more for signed copies or whatever, but maybe we'll do a leather bound gold trim signed by Sam copy for $400 or something. Probably not. All right. Take care, everybody. God bless. Appreciate all of your time, and pray for the right people to see it that need to see it. So long.